When the news first came out that Remy Ma and Papoose were separating, many people assumed it was just another celebrity breakup. Public figures split all the time, and most fans quickly move on to the next trending story. But this situation was different. Over time, new details started to surface, and people began realizing that what looked simple on the outside had a much deeper history behind it. The story was not just about two people ending a relationship. It was about how an image had been built, protected, and eventually challenged. For years, Remy and Papoose were presented as an example of long-lasting loyalty. Their relationship was often celebrated as a powerful symbol of commitment, especially because of the period when Remy was incarcerated and Papoose publicly remained by her side. That narrative became extremely important to fans, media outlets, and even to the way both artists were marketed. Many people admired their love story because it seemed to represent patience, loyalty, and dedication. However, what the public saw was only part of the picture. According to various interviews, comments, and later claims made by people close to the situation, Remy spent many years protecting the public image of the marriage. She rarely spoke about personal disagreements, financial stress, or rumors involving outside relationships. Instead, she focused on presenting a united front, showing strength, stability, and success. Over time, this helped create the widely accepted belief that their relationship was nearly perfect. To understand how the image became so powerful, it helps to go back to the beginning of their story. Remy Ma rose to fame as a confident rapper from the Bronx, known for her sharp delivery and bold personality. She was never quiet or passive. Her energy stood out immediately in the music industry. Papoose, on the other hand, built a reputation as a lyrical artist respected for his technical skills and disciplined approach to his craft. Together, they appeared to balance each other. She was outspoken and fiery, while he seemed calm and supportive. This contrast helped shape how fans viewed their partnership. Many people saw Papoose as the husband who stood proudly beside a strong woman rather than trying to compete with her. That perception became even stronger during the period when Remy faced legal trouble and later served time in prison. During those years, the story of Papoose's loyalty became legendary. Interviews often highlighted his visits, his commitment, and his promise to remain faithful. For the public, this reinforced the idea that he was the ultimate example of dedication. By the time Remy was released, the image of their relationship was already firmly established. Media interviews frequently focused on their love story, and fans celebrated their reunion. The narrative was simple and powerful. A woman returns home after years away, and the man who waited for her is still standing beside her. That storyline resonated emotionally with audiences, making their relationship appear almost untouchable. However, behind the scenes, like many long-term relationships, theirs was not always smooth. Reports later suggested that there were financial disagreements, trust issues, and personal tensions that were not visible to the public. While none of these issues were discussed openly at the time, the pressure of maintaining a perfect image may have made it difficult for either person to address problems publicly. When a couple becomes a symbol of something larger than themselves, admitting flaws can feel risky, because it may disappoint fans who believe in the idealized version of the relationship. As years passed, both individuals continued working on their careers, raising their family, and appearing together in public events. But eventually, rumors began to circulate suggesting that the marriage was experiencing serious strain. At first, these rumors were dismissed as gossip, because the public had grown so used to seeing them as a stable couple. Over time, though, more discussions emerged, and people started paying closer attention. One turning point came when conversations about outside relationships began appearing online. Some reports claimed that emotional connections or private conversations involving different individuals had started years before the public realized anything was wrong. Whether every rumor was accurate or not, the idea that the marriage had been facing challenges for a long time changed how some people interpreted later events. Instead of seeing the breakup as sudden, observers began to view it as the result of long-term issues that had finally reached a breaking point. Another major factor that shaped the public reaction was the expectation fans had built over the years. Because the relationship had been promoted as a symbol of loyalty, any sign of trouble felt dramatic. People often react strongly when a well-known couple separates, especially when they believed the partnership represented something meaningful. In this case, the reaction was even stronger because many people had invested emotionally in the story of patience and commitment that surrounded the couple for so long. As more information surfaced, discussions expanded to include other individuals connected to the situation, including Claressa Shields and Easy the Block Captain. Each new rumor, interview statement, or social media post added another layer to the conversation. Social media amplified the situation quickly, with different groups supporting different perspectives. Some people defended Remy, others defended Papoose, and many observers simply tried to piece together the timeline based on whatever information was publicly available. One important element that complicated the story was the timeline itself. Questions began to arise about when certain communications started, when relationships may have shifted emotionally, and whether the public narrative matched the actual sequence of events. When timelines are unclear, people often fill the gaps with assumptions, which can lead to misunderstandings. Over time, the debate about who did what first became less certain, because different claims pointed to different starting points. Another aspect of the conversation involved financial responsibilities within the marriage. Some statements suggested that Remy contributed significantly to the couple's financial stability at various points, while other claims focused on how household decisions were managed. These discussions added another dimension to the story, shifting it from a simple relationship dispute to a broader conversation about partnership roles, shared responsibilities, and expectations within long-term marriages. As the situation became more public, both sides shared statements and responses, sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly. Fans analyzed each comment carefully, looking for clues about what had happened behind closed doors. This constant scrutiny made the situation even more intense, because every new message was treated as evidence supporting one narrative or another. Over time, the focus of the conversation moved beyond the breakup itself, and toward the larger question of how public images are created and maintained. One of the most interesting lessons from this situation is how powerful branding can be in shaping public perception. When a couple is presented as a symbol of loyalty for many years, audiences may resist information that contradicts that image. Even when new details appear, people sometimes hold on to the original story because it feels more familiar or comforting. This shows how difficult it can be for public figures to change the way they are perceived once a strong narrative has been established. Another important lesson is that relationships are rarely as simple as they appear from the outside. Public appearances, interviews, and social media posts show only selected moments of people's lives. The private conversations, disagreements, and emotional challenges that shape a relationship often remain unseen. By the time a breakup becomes public, many of the real issues may have existed for years without anyone outside the relationship knowing about them. As time passed, the situation involving Remy, Papoose, and others continued to evolve, with new rumors and responses appearing periodically. Some individuals chose to speak openly, while others stayed relatively quiet. This mixture of silence and commentary kept the public conversation active, as fans continued to speculate about what had really happened and how the situation would eventually resolve. From a broader perspective, the story highlights how quickly public opinion can shift. At one point, the couple was widely praised as an example of lasting love. Later, the same relationship became the subject of intense criticism and debate. This shift demonstrates how strongly public perception depends on the information people receive, and how easily narratives can change when new details appear. It also shows the pressure that comes with being viewed as a symbol. When a relationship is seen as representing something larger, such as loyalty, resilience, or cultural pride, any change in that relationship can feel more dramatic than it actually is. The individuals involved may simply be dealing with personal challenges, but the public may interpret those challenges as the collapse of an important idea. That emotional investment from audiences can make private situations feel much more intense than they otherwise would be. Another factor worth considering is how social media affects the way these stories unfold. In earlier decades, celebrity breakups might have been discussed mainly through interviews or news reports. Today, every post, comment, or reaction can spread instantly to millions of people. This creates an environment where speculation grows quickly, and incomplete information can become widely accepted before it is verified. As a result, public conversations often move faster than the facts themselves. Throughout this entire situation, one consistent theme has been the importance of looking at patterns, rather than isolated moments. A single event rarely explains everything that happens in a long relationship. Instead, relationships usually change gradually, shaped by many decisions, conversations, and experiences over time. When observers focus only on the final event, the breakup, they may overlook the years of history that led up to it. Another theme is the difference between image and reality. Public figures often present a polished version of their lives, highlighting achievements and positive moments while keeping personal struggles private. This is understandable, because everyone wants to protect their reputation and maintain a sense of privacy. However, when the public later learns that the reality was more complicated, it can feel surprising, even though it is actually quite common. Most relationships, whether public or private, contain both strong moments and difficult ones. As discussions continue, different people will likely continue interpreting the situation in different ways. Some will focus on loyalty, others on personal growth, and others on the broader lesson about how public narratives are created. Regardless of which perspective someone holds, the situation serves as a reminder that celebrity stories are still human stories at their core. Behind the headlines are real individuals navigating complicated emotions, responsibilities, and life changes. In the end, what began as a headline about a breakup turned into a larger conversation about image, expectations, and the complexity of long-term relationships. The story shows how easily public perception can be shaped by the narratives people choose to believe, and how quickly those narratives can change when new information appears. It also reminds audiences that the truth of any relationship is usually far more detailed than what can be summarized in a few viral posts. For many observers, the biggest takeaway is simple: pay attention to actions over time rather than relying only on appearances. Relationships are built through everyday choices, communication, and mutual respect, not just through public displays of affection or carefully crafted interviews. When people look back at situations like this, they often realize that the signs of change were present long before the final announcement was made. As the individuals involved continue moving forward with their lives and careers, public discussion will eventually shift to other topics, as it always does. Still, the story leaves behind an important reminder about how fame, branding, and personal relationships can intersect in complicated ways. It shows that even the most celebrated partnerships can face challenges, and that understanding those challenges requires patience, context, and a willingness to look beyond the surface. If nothing else, this situation encourages people to approach celebrity stories with a bit more curiosity and a bit less certainty. What appears obvious at first glance may look very different once the full timeline becomes visible. And in many cases, the real lesson is not about choosing sides but about recognizing how complex human relationships truly are.